to have with me today the beautiful Bethany. Hi, Bethany.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. So why don't you share with our guests a little bit about you and what you do?
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, so my name is Bethany. I'm a love and relationship coach, and I specialize in helping divorced moms find love again without using dating apps. So we learn how to attract love into our lives without the chase of the online dating games. A little backstory about me. I was married to my high school sweetheart. So I got married really young. I was in this relationship for about 18 years. And then when we got divorced, I found myself single and really no idea how to start dating again because, dating apps didn't exist 20 years ago when I was single. I never had to use them. And I thought, well, let's give it a try. Maybe it's going to be fun. Let's just check it out, see what happens. And I found myself quickly exhausted. The fakes, the scams, the endless scrolling, the messaging, the ghosting, everything that came along with it. It was just so exhausting and I couldn't do it anymore. And I thought there just had to be a better way. So I created a better way with my coaching program called Manifest Your Divine Love.
I love it. So how does somebody go about? So let's focus a little bit like, okay, so we want to attract this guy, or we're already in a relationship and maybe it's not how we want it to go. What are some tips that you can give us to maybe tune in more to our body, ourself, how to maybe attract the person that we're with, right? I feel like a lot of
Yeah.
times after you're married for a long time, you have your children, you kind of are
Mhm.
busy and tired. How do you get that spark back up, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. And I do think that, after a breakup or a divorce, there really is this period of where we just really need to focus on ourselves, right? Like, let's do some healing around our relationships and everything that happened and really do some self-care. And self-care, it's not always about like getting a latte and taking a hot bath and having a spa day, right? Like,
Right.
sometimes it's about doing the harder things that we resist doing, like looking inside and asking the hard questions and what part did I play in this relationship and how it went wrong, and taking some accountability and responsibility and not just blaming the other person. Like, it takes two to tango, and we definitely had some areas we played a role. And so really stopping to look and get clear on what your patterns of behavior and when you get triggered, how you act and how you respond. And so really just taking time to like sit back and reflect on the relationship and give yourself that period of time to grieve, to move on, to do some healing, and to look at what went wrong in the relationship, what was our part. And the great thing about an ended relationship is we can look back and we have all this experience and this wisdom to say, oh, I don't want that to happen again. This is what maybe worked and what didn't work. So how can I do different next time? But we can't change until we have an awareness of what we want to change. And that period of self-care and healing, that will give you the awareness around everything so that you can change it. So just giving yourself that time to heal and gain awareness and grow before you jump into another relationship, I think is so important.
Yes, I love this. And you were saying like when your relationship ends, but I also encourage women right now, if they're in a relationship, in your marriage, and you're feeling like that, there is no right time to heal, right? I mean, we've
Mm-hmm.
the work. And we
Yeah.
know that, especially when you're in the field, I can talk about it myself. I do the work on myself every day, right? Every day
Mm-hmm.
when stuff comes up, I get more awareness in clearing it and using whatever tools I have to shift and change that. So a lot of times we wait for a very like traumatic experience to happen or like a big breakup. But if you're in a relationship now, this is a great time to look at what you're going through. This is a great time to see how can you make this person that you're with, because you chose them for a reason, right? You got married for a reason. There was love there, right? There was appreciation there. So what can you do to bring that back? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point too. And just that there's never a good time to heal. Like the time is now. The time is now to
Yes.
do whatever it is. And also healing is a journey. It's not like we get to that destination like, oh, I'm healed now. I can stop doing work. Like unfortunately that never happens. We're always healing, growing, learning. Yeah. And if you are feeling stuck and you are feeling like you want something to change, but you just don't know what it is. Again, I think it's kind of a good place to start of like stopping and looking at yourself. And for me, journaling has been really great, like stream of consciousness journaling, to where don't think about what you're writing, just let it flow out. Because sometimes something feels off, but we can't even identify what it is. Like, and you want to talk to your partner, but you really need like some clarity around, okay, what is this specific thing that I don't like, that I want to change? So get some clarity around what is bothering you, what really is the thing. And there could be a lot of things. So let's pick the most important one. Like, what's the one thing that you really want to change? So doing some stream of consciousness journaling is always, I think, a really helpful exercise to get clarity on what's bothering us. And also to stop and remember that, like, kind of like you said, like, you fell in love with this person for a reason. So like put yourself back there and remember why you fell in love with them. Remember their good qualities. A lot of times we get so focused on someone's negative qualities and what they're not doing. Like stop and think about what they are doing that's good for you and what you love about them, and start to appreciate that too. Like at the end of the day, when I lay down and go to bed, I have this practice of like, what am I thankful for that happened? What went right in my day today? And I always try to think of, okay, at least one good thing my partner did for me today. Like, what's one thing that he did that made me smile? And that always makes me appreciate him and stay in that place of gratitude and appreciation. So yeah, try to find some gratitude and appreciation for your partner. Remember the good things, and then get clarity around what you really want to change. Do some journaling and bring up one thing at a time. Focus on changing one thing at a time. Baby steps.
Yes, always. And we were talking a little bit before about what do you do when, maybe one of the partners wants to, wants to have sex, wants to get laid, and the other person is not feeling in the mood. So do you have any tips what we can do to shift our perspective at
Yeah,
it?
this is such a good question. And I feel like a lot of people probably struggle with this because it's one of the main things people fight about in relationships, sex, right? Like most of the time, your libidos are not going to match up. You're going to want to have sex and the other person won't, or vice versa. So first of all, just knowing that this is normal, right? Like there's not something wrong with you or your partner. You both are at different speeds, and that's okay. And it's all normal. And then if you can sit down and have a conversation with your partner around what this looks like some people actually, they get to the point where they're like scheduling sex, which sounds like not sexy and like not fun, but actually it can be kind of cool. Like, okay, it's Friday. Like this is our date night. Like we're going to get it on tonight. Like I know. So I'm going to look forward and be excited to that night. And then there's also like a little expectation of like, we set this up. So this is going to happen. This is really important for us to connect in our relationship to do this. So yeah, just knowing that it is normal to have fluctuating desires, and you're not going to always be on the same page at the same time. And then whatever it is for you that you need to get your needs met, if one partner in the relationship has a higher libido, well, is there something you can do to satisfy that? Like maybe there can be some kind of mutual play together where, the woman gets out her vibrator and the man is just there next to her. Maybe he's kissing her and touching her, but there's not any penetration or sex, but you're still there involved in the act, and then you're getting your needs met and there's still some kind of intimacy. So getting creative with ideas, what you can do, and really just keeping those lines of communication open. It's so important. If you start to build up resentment because you're not having enough sex, like that is just going to lead to nowhere good. So really being open and having those hard conversations and bringing it up to your partner, and also knowing too that ultimately, like, you're responsible for getting your needs met. And so that means communicating and knowing what those needs are. And if your partner's not always in the mood, there are other things you can go do. So being able to take care of yourself too, like there's nothing wrong with that.
Yep, just go rub one out, as we say.
Exactly. Sometimes you got to do it.
Yeah, sometimes you got to do it. And I feel like it would change dynamically if you don't put all that energy and pressure on the other person, right?
Yeah.
It's just building up,
Yeah.
and build up of anger with sexual tension is not a good, it's like an
Yeah.
explosive situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And then that other person feels pressure. And, you know, they're at the same time, they're probably feeling a little inadequate because they can't provide for your everyday need kind of thing. So then, yeah, it really does breed resentment within the relationship. And we want to nip that in the bud as soon as we can.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for this great conversation. So if our people want to find you, where can they find you?
Yeah, so I run a free Facebook support group. If you go search the group function, just start typing in Divorced Moms Date Without Apps. Kind of long but simple. Divorced Moms Date Without Apps. So you can come join us in the Facebook group. I'd love to have you there. We share conversations and stories about relationships. I'm also on Instagram at Bethany and Coach.
I love it. Thank you so much for being here and sharing with us. This has been great.
Yes, I love it. Thank you.
And thank you to our listeners for being here with us today. And we'll see you again next time.